So, first game to be considered is, I really want to shout this, but I know I'm kind of loud on this microphone, so I'm not going to. But it should be shouted. I mean, everyone listening will probably be shouting it in their minds. It is the number, and indeed a very important number, 180. Now, 180 is a very famous game, and I want you to. It's one of the most popular and well-known games, the latter part of the release budget game. So, I believe the Spectrum team put this forward. So, between you, I'm now going to start the clock now.
Matt, take it then. So, 180 based on darts, as Chris astutely said there, and he didn't shout the famous scoring there, of which if you get 280s in a row, that's 6 darts, you can do a 9 dart leg. That's for the dart geeks out there. This is a game that I think was by the Pickford brothers. Certainly Steve Pickford was involved in it. David Whittaker on music. It is, as we know, across all platforms. Why is the Spectrum the best? First of all, I'll just say it's still a quality game to this day, which cannot be said for some of these games that shouldn't even get 3 points. But I won't waste my 3 minutes on that particular point, because we'll come to that. I think it's still a cracking game now, especially in 2-player. I know there's some people here that don't like it. I think it still stands up. The gameplay mechanic is still fun. It's simple. It's effective. It feels a bit like darts. You can pull off a 180 quite easily some rounds. Other rounds, you might get a 1 and a 5 because you've panicked and you've missed your target, which happens in darts as well. The Spectrum here, why we think it is the best and the most balanced. Firstly, the hand movement is beautiful. It's the size of it looks like the right scale of hand here. The way it moves is fluid. When you throw it, it feels like you are throwing the dart where you expect it to go. I think, as well, graphically, it is the best board because there is some odd colour boards going on. Now, I must admit that the board colour on the Spectrum isn't wonderful, but is probably the closest to the real thing. If you look at a windmill dartboard, there is definitely some yellow on there somewhere. We won't talk about the other platforms just yet, which are disastrous. The bar scene is cracking. You know, dog cocking its leg. The lady with her partial red hair, thanks to colour attribute.
Someone's been smoking crack at least. Just
looks wonderful. And there's a bloke in the bar being served pints while the player pauses to throw his other darts. The Spectrum does, to me, feel the most balanced. It's the game I still play to this day with my brother. And I know Dean likes to play it on his own in his shed sometimes when he's feeling like he wants to shout 180 really loud when he's had a bad day at work in the lorry. Should I quickly talk about how long have I got left? Come on, tell me.
40 seconds. 40 seconds.
40 seconds.
It's the only version with a round dart balls. All the others have been squashed. So it's oval shape on the other formats.
Thank you. I think the controls feel off on the rest of them. The Amstrad doesn't feel consistent in the way it throws darts. The C64 is too fast. I know that could be a strange thing to say. Yeah, they just don't feel right. The bar scenes feel stale and stagnant compared to the rest. The lady on the C64 looks evil. I wouldn't want to be in a pub and have a pint there. I think you'd get kicked out. It must be a flat roof pub. That is all I'll say about that particular pub. It is a beautiful game, lovely music. Best music is on the AY chip, which pains me as a SID lover. That's me. Thank you.
That's it. Well done. But
well done.
Yes. Thank you. Just got in the music there because you almost forgot that bit. Interesting. Right. Team Amstrad then. Tell us, what did you to defend yourselves on 180? Let's hear it. 3, 2, 1, go.
It's a great game, isn't it? On I think on at least 2 of the 3 platforms. I don't know about you, Jim, but So look, I think kind of full disclosure here, I loved this game as a kid and I grew up with a Specky and therefore this game feels like a Specky game to me. But the advantages that the CPC has is you can change the colour palette.
You certainly can.
And whilst that doesn't seem like a big thing, you know, playing with a yellow and black dartboard with a yellow hand, whilst the Specky version does, I would say, probably play the best, I think actually being able to change up the colour palette and having that red and black dartboard does actually look like a proper dartboard with a hand with a flesh-coloured hand. It does add something to the game, I think. Don't you think, Jim?
Yeah, I do. On the hand as well, I definitely agree with the C64 comment. It just didn't feel right.
No, but the controls are reversed on the C64, which is weird.
It didn't feel right when you were throwing those darts. The action of the darts, it didn't feel right. You get a cheer when you drop in over 100 on the Amstrad version, which doesn't happen on the Spectrum, and it doesn't happen on the C64 either.
And
it does.
What is that weird screen on the C64 when you win a round? You get that horrible kind of graphic, don't you, to say congratulations or you win or something.
It's barely readable,
horrible.
Isn't it? Barely
Plus,
readable.
also, on the C64, it doesn't tell you what your opponent is aiming for, which you might say is a bit more realistic because you wouldn't know that anyway. But on the Specky and on Amstrad, you know exactly what he's going for and what he gets, whereas you get that weird text at the top of the C64 screen. Plus, it's too easy on the C64. I got right to the end of the game on pretty much my first go.
That's funny now that you say it's uncontrollable, but you got too easy. That's
No, I didn't say it wasn't controllable.
Yeah, no, that was me.
I think it's actually too easy on the C64. I don't think there's not enough longevity in it for me.
So I found that the computer didn't miss a double when I played it on the C64.
Yeah, that is a problem on all versions, I think, the CPU.
Yeah.
Is that it then?
My best games were always on the Amstrad. I got furthest on the Amstrad. So
sweeping generalizations. Okay. Okay.
So I would submit that actually the fact that you can change the color palette on, I think the CPC and Specky are clearly superior to the C64, right, in terms of the gameplay. So I think the fact that you can change the colors, there's not a lot between the Specky and the Amstrad, except the bar scene is far superior on the Specky. I will give you that. That is the best rendition of that scene. But when it comes to the actual
sounds like you're playing with Bully's prize board on the red and black one, and you're going to get no prizes.
Exactly that. Exactly. At least it feels like it is.
Okay, that's it.
That red background does allow the optics to stand out.
Beautiful.
That's it. Thank
Look
you
at that
very
lovely
much.
army with their colour clash.
That's it.
Stunning.
Right, now,
the
other
Specky, the
teams,
bar scene
please
is the best.
stop interrupting those who are presenting. All right? Now, although, quite frankly, Team Amstrad did taunt C64, so it's kind of on them that they got interrupted. So, speaking of a C64 team, over to you. Defend your port of 180, which I really want to yell, but I don't want to blast Matt's ears. So 3, 2, 1.
So one thing we can get back to immediately is the controls, because I found this game very controllable on the Specky and on the C64, but the CPC was all over the place. It was jittery, it was wonky, it didn't work at all. So it's very controllable and very playable on the C64 and the Specky. I think I prefer the dartboard on the C64. It's very clear and readable, so it's nice when you're playing this. And of course, I don't want to even get into what the barmaid on the Specky is doing, because this, I mean, kids could be listening to this, but it's a life lesson, Mads. It's a life lesson. The C64 is most definitely the most playable and the prettiest, if you ask me, at least. So, Steve, you have something to say about that scene, don't you?
Well, number one, so we've got the flesh-coloured hand as well. So that's not going about, we've got the flesh-coloured hand. We've got the flesh-coloured hand as well. But the bar scene, I mean, oh my God. So yeah, number one, the Amstrads, there's no one in the bar scene, there's no one in the bar. So
it's midweek, it's lunchtime, midweek.
It's normally there's at least a bar person serving you. There's no one.
Cost of living crisis, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then I'd just like to point out the pure lies from Chris there on the it's not you, Chris. CPC is King, Chris. On the control scheme's back to front on the C64. It's not. They're all the same. All exactly the same. So yes, they are. I played them all in a row today. Yeah. All of them. Every single one.
Definitely. Up, left, right. No. There is now, whether it's back to front depends on obviously what your perspective is. But the C64 control definitely is different. I swear.
It's not, but they all do this jittery thing. It's all the same, and it's up, down, left. Yeah. I would have spotted that, because I hate it when the controls are inversed.
The C64 version, you actually have to press the joystick to get the hand moving first of all, though, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
Well, you've got to move.
Why is the hand stationary?
What?
But you can't shoot when it's there anyway, so.
Yeah, so, yeah. But
Just need to start.
It's like it needs the user to activate it. It just seems a bit strange.
you've got to aim, Dean.
You know that's the aim of games. You
You've
get
got
to
to move
control
the
stuff.
joystick to play it.
It's frozen when the screen comes on.
That's okay. That's fine.
It's
Just
not
thinking.
right.
You're just
Put a flag in
thinking,
that
and then
because
I'm
I've got
gonna
something similar to say about Dizzy and Frozen C64ness as well.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
Moving on. The bar scene, man. So, yeah, number one, like I say, the Amstrad, it's all red and there's no one there. That's just weird. The Spectrum one, don't anyone try and tell me that this is the best bar scene. Jesus Christ. Have you looked?
It is.
I've just shown you the picture.
It's got a bit of colour clash.
Have
Steve.
you looked? Have you looked at the creature that's playing darts?
Have you seen your version? It looks like it's been made out of Lego.
He
10
looks like
seconds.
hang on. Okay, he looks like a bloke on our one, and he looks like a monkey crossed with a horse on your one.
That
And I don't
character
know how many
appears in the
mushrooms
game
you
if
have
you
to
played it
eat
further.
Weird.
to like those
So-
colors.
Okay,
I showed you the screenshot earlier. That character
It's
appears
just-
in the
That's it.
C64 version.
It's just
We'll be all
Weatherspoons.
night, everyone.
Weatherspoons at lunchtime.
Oi. That's it. Thank you. Right. Well, you've made your positions clear. It's now
our
for
character.
3. Yes, it's the there he
That's
is.
our character. That's
He
not an
is.
alien.
No,
And that-
well, I don't know. But let's
All
go
the
with this.
characters appear in the game. If you played it
No, look, they
properly,
don't look like that, Dean.
that character appears in the C64
he
game.
does.
Carry on. I'll be
He
deducting
does, just on the
points.
first
I will
level.
be deducting points. Right, here we go. So now the judges are going to discuss which was the best of the 3. And they're just going to rank. We're going to rank them, okay?
Are we allowed to interrupt any of this? Or
Well, I don't see why not, but you can have a go. But we might be, we're just going to have a discussion and you can
Might
appeal
deduct
your
points off you.
point. Yeah, maybe. So let's hear this go. So, all right, I'm going to go like, Mark, what do you think of this one? What's your thoughts?
Darts is never, we kind of talked about that. I mean, I didn't know that there is a dart scene here in the States. There's not
It
around
is,
my
yeah.
area.
oh yeah,
It's not,
Steve Beaton was quite big on the circuit for a little while.
I think it's certain parts of US. I think more East Coast thing. I don't know.
could be. Yeah, could
I'm heading
definitely
down
be.
tomorrow, so who knows? I'll find out.
But it's not like where I feel like we would go bowling.
What's your
or
initial
something
gut
similar like that.
feeling out of the 3?
Out of the 3, I thought the CPC version was too easy. Like I was able to score much easier. Now it's not a good or bad thing. I guess it depends on your level of play. I felt
Just rank them now because I'm just not conscious of the time.
Okay.
So
I gave my top to the Spectrum.
Okay.
CPC got second and C64 got last.
okay.
The C64
Oh,
I just
man.
thought looked like absolute trash, and I
Interesting.
thought played like SHIT. There we go. I'll
Yeah.
save up that.
Yeah.
But that's
Gordon,
it.
what's your thoughts on this?
Okay. I will commend the CPC for the colour changing. That was fantastic. I really did like that. I like mucking about with different colour variations. It's just a bit entertainment in its own right. But the bar scene, seeing your opponent play was unforgivable. I'm sorry. It was stale. It was rubbish. But that's not really the game. I know that. You're saying the main thing is how much did I enjoy it? Well, I was torn. I enjoyed all 3 versions. I'll be honest. It was difficult. But fluidity-wise, I still think the Spectrum was top. Okay? It was the controlling of the hand was bang on. I'm going to
Yeah.
go for...
Go on.
I'm going to go for
Rank 'em.
the Spectrum first, Commodore second, and CPC third on this one.
Okay.
I actually enjoyed the characteristics in the bar of the
Yeah.
Commodore's graphics. The belly hanging out
Yeah.
was superb.
Yeah.
Really nice touch. So.
I think
Pretty accurate.
I think Gordon and I are in accord on this one because the I do agree that the Spectrum one definitely plays best. I found that most entertaining. I love the music on it. The music's way better. Well, I did load it on my Spectrum 128 Plus, so I could hear the AY. I'd made sure that I was loading these games. By the way, we loaded these games on tape images, everyone, just to make sure we didn't get weird cracked versions, much to the chagrin of some of the... Anyway, but we did do that. We saw loading screens, everything. This will come up later. Trust me, it will come up later. And but I really liked the Spectrum version. The C64 version was slightly. At least it had something interesting in the bar scene, as Steve's rightly said. There's actually some violence going on with the bartender. Don't know what she's up, but she has issues. But so when it comes to the Amstrad version, I think for me, the thing that really killed it for me was when Chris admittedly said, well, the gameplay is slightly worse, but we really can change colour. What? Sorry. How was that?
Slightly worse than the Specky. I was being the honourable person and admitting that the Specky game is the Specky version is the best.
Yes, you're doffing your cap.
The version is not a patch on the CPC.
Well, my biggest negative of the 64 version for me was really weird. Was that when you threw a dart, it then magically vanished, went away. What was that? I liked having the other darts in, so I knew whereabouts I could. So that made more sense. So that was made a little bit, but honestly, I did find it was slightly edged by a little bit better presentation, although it was the loading screen. That's not something you want to look at. That's bad. So, but I would concur. What about? I mean, so ultimately, it is a 2 versus 1 vote on this because I know Mark was doing
my
first, and
you guys are going to have to keep me in check because my votes are all over the place on this.
That's fine. So this is going to be a
fight.
Well, I think it's going to be Spectrum with 3 points, C64 with 2 points, and Amstrad with 1.